up that road? Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank you all for making it to another meeting of the Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association. We are the home of the, what was it? Extreme. Whatever. You get it every time. I'm going to have to give it.
I didn't get it.
No, I'm saying that he's so good. Dean is right on top of the game. There you go. So we're just playing a little game here that she goes. Well, what happens is, because it's kind of late and we get in here after eating, we have a long day and everything, we go and start falling asleep. If I happen to say what I just said, and you catch me, and you're the first one to say whatever, it's a whole big long story on that. We won't get into it. This is a Saturday Night Live thing. Then I give you $10. It kind of helps keep you awake, keep you on your toes, helps you pay for, the money that you paid to get in here, right? By the way, has anybody got a parking pass that they did not validate? Because you can do that at the back, the front desk, so you want to do that. So that's just our little something that we do. Stay awake here. Okay? So I want to thank you all for making it to the Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association. We've got Sensei did make it. He pulled a good trick on me. He sent me an email because some of you that were here last month realized our speaker didn't show up. It was a no-show. First time this happened in 6 years, ever, for me, doing this. So Sensei sent me an email and said, "What day is it today?" My heart's like, oh God, here we go again.
No, actually, I gave that to him.
Yeah, but he's here. Everything's fine. So we're good. So I want to thank you for making it. And we've got a smaller crowd today. But the nice thing about recording all this stuff, which we do, we put it on video, is we get to get up on the internet, and then we're really big on the internet, right? The whole world is going. So anybody that needs the information can come back at a later time. I'm not real big on webinars. In fact, I just had somebody that does private lending. He's on the East Coast. He's really big. And he had one of his people call me up and say, "Hey, would you like to be involved with this?" And I said, "Yeah, have him come out here and speak." He says, "Well, I don't know if he's going to do that. Maybe we can do a webinar." And I said, "No, wrong answer. I'm not going to do that." I just, when they say 8 o'clock Wednesday night, I've always got something else going on. Just, a little bit of time with my wife. She's home from work. I'm not going to do that. But the nice thing about these videos is you can get to them anytime. You chop them up. They're small. You can look at a part of it and then get back to it. So there's some real value there. Another thing that I'd like to do, last month we went through, we just had everybody introduce themselves, and that kind of took a while, so we don't have the time to do that. But I would really like maybe at least 1 or 2 people, if they're interested in doing that. That way they can kind of promote themselves and their business, and we can get you on the camera, and then we'll move on. Is anybody interested in doing that? Don't have to.
My name's Brandon Hawkinson. I'm a mortgage broker and a mortgage banker.
I thought it was Mr. Prevail.
Yeah, that's my license plate, says Prevail, but I'm decent at mortgages, so feel free to ask me any questions you might have about anything to do with it.
Excellent. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. Anybody else, one more person interested before we move on? Going once? Going twice?
Trying to figure out what I can promote.
Yourself, your business, what you do. I'm Dean.
Whatever pays.
Henderson. This is what I do. Because we're here to network and just to try to, Go ahead. Just a real quick one.
Dean Henderson. I've been doing short sales for the past 6 years. I help people that are in foreclosure. I'm still feeling my way around trying to find a niche that I can fit into as far as real estate goes. I provide services such as people that are close to a sale date. I can forestall the sale date for up to a few months with a delayed trustee service. So I'm just looking for, like I say, either fix and flips or commercial real estate or whatever to get into.
Okay, that's it. Excellent. Thank you very much. And Sensei, we're going to have you up in a minute, but this Sensei, is it Gillian?
Gilliland.
Gilliland. Okay.
My kids say silly land, but.
Silly.
all right.
So Sensei is here. He's going to be up here about 30 minutes talking, and I want to thank you very much. If you guys want to come in and have a seat, be my guest, or if you want to wander around,
I will.
what do you want to do?
Yeah,
Check the
I'm gonna
place
grab
out.
some more water, I'll be in.
Okay. So, I think I'll move this. I don't know how to trip over it. What we've got is the main website, SantaBarbaraREIA.com, and a number of places you can get to from the bar down below. What we're going to be doing tonight, we've done the 6 o'clock to 6:30 registration meeting, you know, kind of doing a little bit of networking. That's really what we want to do here, is meet with each other and pass out the cards and get to know each other, make some connections. I'm going to go through, talk a little bit about the regulated properties that I do, okay? Also, each month that I spend, 30 days doing my work, I'm working full-time in the business as an investor, so whatever trials and tribulations that I go through during that month period, if I learn something new, I'm going to come back and kind of give you guys an idea of what it is, and also if I update some things that are important on the website, I get benefit too. So we're going to talk a little about rehab versus tenants, legal help. We'll talk about that. And also tax liens, fun little story there. Santa Barbara Computing, we've got a new website, we'll show you that, go through that. And then we're going to have Sensei up here from 7 to 9. And if you want to learn how to flip properties and not have any money out of your pocket, do this all basically for free, Sensei has got the program. Okay, so he's going to be up here to give you guys a lot of good information, and I really would suggest that if you're looking to do wholesaling, this is the person that you spend time with. Okay. So we also, as I mentioned, we video all this stuff. It all goes up on YouTube. You have a chance to go through and get whatever information you need. If you missed it, a lot of times I'll have to listen to something 4 or 5 times and go, oh, okay, now I get it. Maybe you need to put it in slow motion or something. So let's talk a little bit about the 20K in rent-ready properties. And actually, I got to quit saying 20K. It's in that price range, but I don't want to get stuck with Motel 6 because as the economy moves on, we may never see a property for $20,000 again. So in any case, rent-ready properties basically means that we're going to find some low-end properties. We're going to go through and rehab them and get them to the point where we can get tenants in there. They're not going to be the best thing ever. They're going to be just good enough to get tenants in there, make it legal. We're not going to go make it a better property than everything else in the neighborhood, because that, as you know, is not the thing to do. You want to find the worst property in the best neighborhood and bring it up to the neighborhood standard. Okay? So the return is basically 18% for my investors. They come up with the money. I do all the work. We really get a 36% return on these properties. They're not in California. They're outside of California. And then we split that, and when we split it, it becomes 18 for the investor and 18 for me. But what do you do when your investor runs out of money? This is kind of what happened here recently. One of my investors' father died, the property went into probate, and when the property goes into probate, guess what happens? If they can get their hands on the money, things get real difficult, because if there's repairs or things that need to be done, where are you going to get the cash? It's all stuck in probate. Well, this is what happened. So I said, okay, now we need to get really creative. Because if you can't come up with some cash for some repairs, what are we going to do? Now, of course, at the same time that we're going through the probate issue, we had a tenant that went, bye, see you later. And the worst thing you want to do with any rental property is have to turn something over. If you go back to my National Home Buyers site, which we'll look at in a bit, I've got a video in there of Warren Buffett, and he spoke, 6 months back or a year back, and said, the market's right. If I was ever going to buy anything now, it would be 250 rental properties. If I could get the correct management, that's what I would do. Well, most people probably didn't hear the if, and he knows it probably better than anybody else. Where you're going to get your clock clean is with management and tenant turnover. If that's not done properly, you're not going to make a profit at all. Okay, you could lose your house and go into foreclosure, and a lot of people do. And we have some investors in this group that have 5 or 6 homes, all went into foreclosure. talked out his house to get the homes. That went into foreclosure because he had big loans, you know, thinking that no money down was a great thing. You're over-leveraged. When you're over-leveraged, you know, leverage is only good in a rising market. It's not good at the top. It's not at the bottom. And going down is not good. If it's going up and you can get out before it does anything else, okay, but that's a tough thing to do. Ask Donald Trump. Not this recession, but the last one. Okay? So, we had a problem, and here's how I solved it. I went out and I ran some ads on Craigslist and said we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house at $600 a month, and nobody called up. So I said, uh-oh, we got a problem. There's a lot of competition. How are we going to get this thing to stand out with all the competition? So I said, okay, we know we need to fix it up. We need to clean it up. In fact, I got a quote from my past contractor who I've since let go for $5,000, and I went, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not spending $5,000 to fix this place up, because you got to understand, I'm not making money on a commission basis doing these investments with people. I'm making money as a 50-50 investor, which means if I dump $5,000 into it and I go to sell it in a couple of years, that's $5,000 I'm not going to get back, because I only make money off the profit, plus I get half the rent. So I'm going to put as little into them as possible and keep the rent up as high as possible, but I'm going to have to be a healthy house and happy tenants and everything else, but I'm not going to go overboard and pay more than I should. So I said, okay, let's change the ad. So I changed the ad and said, house needs work. I got some calls, but what I realized is I was getting all kinds of calls from lots of people that, you know, really just wanted $300 a month. They didn't really want to fix anything. They didn't really want to, you know, pay more than $300 a month. They just wanted to get in a house and get some cheap rent for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. So I changed the ad again and said, okay, $300 a month, Handyman special. I'm looking strictly for rehabbers. Because what I realize is that the people who are going to be the best working in these properties are going to be people who, you know, may already have a job doing rehab work someplace for some contractor. Most contractors own their homes, but their employees or workers are still renting, especially in this economy. And if they're really into fixing things up, then they're energetic and they want to go out and do things, okay? We spoke a little bit about knock-up, okay? My model in the past has been get a Section 8 tenant, get knock-up, get the tenant qualified of knock-up, take the qualification back to Section 8 and say, hey, Section 8, would you rather pay $800 a month for rent? Or would you rather pay $400 for somebody's mortgage payment? Section 8 says we'd rather pay $400 a month for somebody's mortgage payment. Section 8 will make the mortgage payment for those Section 8 people. Most people don't realize that Section 8 will make your mortgage payment, not just your rent. That's a great deal. But it's really, really hard to talk people that are on something like Section 8 into owning their own home, taking on all that responsibility, and picking up a paintbrush. What? You know, that's a tough one, and I've had a real hard time. But when I ran this ad, and I wasn't getting any people calling up and putting their Handyman special, my phone was going off the hook. As soon as that happened, I went, oh, I really don't have to worry too much anymore about trashed homes. Because if somebody trashes my property, guess what? It's going to go back on the market trashed, and I'm not going to fix it up at all. Unless I have to do a little something in the beginning just to get people in there, but not much. And I'm going to find rehabber tenants that are dying to get work, because what's the worst thing in our economy right now? Nobody can get a job. Okay, and if they got a job, they want a second job. If they have a second job, they don't want to drive very far. What's better than working from your home? Right? I got a lot of people calling up. So many that I really had to start going through and kind of scrutinizing their past history, what they do, and can they really do this? Okay? So I got some people that said, oh yeah, you know, we've been property managers for a long time, and we've fixed up a lot of things, and we've done a lot of stuff, and they were the best. In fact, they were just in the town, maybe an hour away, and I said, well, if you can do all the paperwork on time and do everything that I need to do, and she said, well, we'll even pay 2 months rent. I said, great, you're on. Okay, so if we've got internet access here, I'm going to show you just a quick little before picture here, because I've got, what I do with my investors, I put all the pictures up on Google Docs, Picasso, whatever. And then I put all the spreadsheets of the accounting, everything that was spent, everything that needs to be spent, every repair that comes in. And just to give you an idea, before this place was fixed up, in fact, my last, let's see here, there it is. My last contractor, before the last tenant moved in, I said the kitchen needed to be painted, so he ran in and painted the kitchen. And I looked at the paint job. You know, there was some nice wood cabinets and some kind of light background, and he painted all this ugly looking brown in the background, and it just, you know, it looked pretty bad. So that's kind of a before picture. Let's go back over here and take a look at, get this out of the way, take a quick look at the after picture, what these people did, and give you an idea that there are people out there. And this looks more like it did before, only better, because they went through and they've cleaned it up very nice. And so, you know, the prices that I'm getting from them, I mean, they told me, hey, look, you supply the materials, which that was the deal, we'll supply the materials, and we'll basically do all this for free. And I went, no, I'm not asking to do it for free. But they gave me a price that was really, really reasonable. So what I'm realizing is the people who are going to be most likely to buy this house eventually, and that's what she told me once they started getting into this, is our daughter got burned out in the fire in Colorado 10 months ago. You all heard about that fire. Okay? They need a place. We're going to come in here. We're going to fix this place up, get this ready for them. Then once they come, we're going to find a place out in the country. And I said, oh, I can help you with that too. You can be stowed there in Fort Wayne. They said, yeah, close by. But we want to buy this house for them, and then we want to move on. So then what I realized is, hey, you know, the people who are going to be most likely to buy these things and get them off your hands are going to be people who are rehabber types that are energetic, they're into fixing things up, they want to do something. And so, you know, that left me with a new model at the kind of back end of all the stuff that I'm doing. I'm not going to worry anymore. I certainly don't want to have places get trashed, but I'm not going to freak out about somebody moving out and now what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that piece of junk on the market, let somebody else fix it up and give them a break on rent. Now, let's say they spent $1,000 fixing it up, or $2,000. I'm going to get at least half the rent, $300 a month. The other half the rent, the other $300 is going to go paying their labor back until we get paid off. Okay, that's kind of how that works. So, it's a model that I haven't done in the past. I really see it as a good model. And what I also realize is if we want to go to the next model, because right now what's happening is most investors that get a sense of how this works realizes, you know, we're going to get 18% return on your money. It's pretty hard to get. But you are still going to have to pay for any repairs, taxes, insurance, whatever. Okay? Imagine we get these people, we give them maybe 6 months of month-to-month rent, not a year contract, because I'm going to put them on month-to-month and say, hey, if you go through 6 months and you prove to me that you're going to do what you say you do, then we're going to move on to a better contract. What I'd like to move on to is a land contract and get you to eventually buy the house much quicker. We might, as the investor and I, agree to finance their purchase of the home, but not at a inexpensive mortgage, because we want the mortgage to be close to the rent. You know why we want it to be close to the rent? Because we want to encourage them to eventually cash this out and go get a better loan at a reduced rate, so their mortgage payment goes from $600 a month to $300 a month, or whatever. It's going to be probably about half. And they will, but part of getting them qualified is having them own the house, showing that they're making the payments, and then they can go in and just do a refi rather than qualify for a purchase, right? Yes?
Yeah, what about the tax benefits of having them do that? Write that off too?
I personally don't write anything off because I'm not doing the repairs. The investor who's doing 50-50 with me in the beginning will be able to get all those write-offs. The investor will, not me. Okay? And then once we get the person on a land contract and they actually own it through our financing, then they would get that write-off, exactly. So they would get that benefit too. They're going to be the people who are the most likely to want to do something with these properties. Okay?
Do you have a contract with them for exactly what repairs they'll do and at what price and all that?
Yeah, what I do is I get 3 or 4 different contractors. In fact, one of the things that really helps is that I go out and I start looking for these different contractors and I have them all come in and give me bids. And then I take those bids and I look at the best prices and the people who I think I can work the best with. Not the, you know, I've had so many contractors I can't tell you that I can't even understand them when they're yelling at me. Okay, I'm just not going to go there. So I get those, and then I go back to the tenants and I say, if you can meet or beat the price of the contractors that I've got, then I'll give you the job. If you can't, then I'm going to give it back to the contractor and you're just going to pay the rent. And they say, well, how much is the contractor's price? And I say, well, that's for me to know and you to find out. So start giving me some bids, and if you're way up there, you're not going to get it. So let's play the game, okay? And I had some people come in and give me tenants, mind you, that wanted to be tenants, really high bids, way more than the contractors, just because they figured they can go for a year or two without having to pay that extra rent. Yeah, I just went, no, not going to happen. So you can see how you work this. And this whole process takes a lot of time, believe me. So that's why the investors are happy to just go, Dan, give me 18%, you deal with it. I want to hear the troubles, I want to hear the problem. I just want to look at the numbers and make sure it's working. That's the game, that's how it works. Okay? So that's it on the rent-ready properties. I think we need to move on. What time have we got?
About
6:10? 10 minutes left? We're move on. Okay, legal help. During my 30 days, little things come up. Like I say, this has been going on for years. I have somebody I'm doing something with that didn't go through the contract, didn't follow the contract, I gave them basically $30,000 and said, hey, let's do this deal, and if it doesn't work out, you don't like it, just give me the money back. If there's something about the deal you don't like, I don't care, give me the money back. But don't not give me the money, and don't not give me the deal or whatever. You got to do one or the other. Of course, they weren't. So 5 years went by, and I went, okay. So I got a lawyer here locally, $400 an hour. Okay, I'm going to court possibly next Tuesday or Wednesday. If they don't sign the paperwork, they're real close to looking like they can sign the paperwork, and we're going to be done with it, and I'll report it and be done. Okay, but my wife, Maria, who is not, a big technical guru, just went, well, there's some things here I want answers on, and I just can't get answers on the internet because, when you go look for things, it's kind of like almost there, but doesn't really give you an answer. Yeah. So she came back and she goes, I found something, and she prints it out, she gives it to me, and I'm looking at it, and this lawyer answered her question, and I went, oh my God. I think you found something that's almost as important as the internet itself. Seriously, when the internet first started and the student mind created UCSB.edu, and we were talking to the faculty out there, they were looking at us like, Mozilla Web, what is, no, we don't get it. And, that's where we are with this, okay? And so what I realized, and I started asking questions at the final hour of my 15,000, that had I gotten access to this just ask, or just answer, like months back or years back, I would have been through this thing much cheaper. I would have told the lawyer, hey, here's how we're going to do the deal. I got all the technical, legal questions and answers I need on a national level. I just need a few things, and if you're willing to do this, and you tell me exactly what you're going to charge me each time we go through this, he would have said, see you later. And I would have had to look for another lawyer who would work with me. But that's what you could do, because there are lawyers out there that are just going to, okay, how can I earn some money? How can I do some work? What can I do? What do you need me for? There's going to be people out there that you can negotiate with, because that's the world we're living in, okay? In any case, if you take a look at this, ask legal help. What we've got now is a source, and if you go back to our main website, which is SBREIA, okay, and you scroll down, what you're going to see is a page, a legal help page, and on there is Ask a Lawyer Online. Well, there's currently 39 lawyers online.
Same thing.
So I think these people are excellent. I've gotten some really good information from them. And the interesting thing is, you know, you pay about 50 bucks a month or so to get all the questions. It's unlimited questions, by the way. If you just want one question, it's like 40 bucks, and that's it. But if you're in a bind and you need a lot of help, and the nice thing is when you sign up, you can sign up for a month and then drop it. Sign up for another month and drop it. This is fantastic. So I got all these answers, and what I realized as I was going through is that some of these people who are, quote, experts are giving me this story, and another expert's giving me 180 degrees different, this story, okay? And then all of a sudden it hit me, oh, okay, so, you know, even if you go to court, you could have one judge that would say yes to this, and another judge that would say no to the exact same thing. So especially in the legal field, you're living in a world that is really iffy, and the best that you can do is get the most information and get both sides of the story and then decide, okay, so if this happens and it goes this way, what do I do? And if it goes this way, what do I do? And, you know, what's the best possible avenue that I can go, and the biggest general consensus. And as long as you feel good and strong about your position, then you can go to court and you can represent yourself and say, hey, you know, if you think that you're going to bring your lawyer in here and break me by driving me in here month after month for legal costs that are going to go sky high, it's not going to happen anymore. I have no problem walking into the court and saying, yes, Your Honor, you know, we have a agreed upon court transcript. As long as I stick to it, I don't try to add anything, I don't try to subtract anything, I'm good with what we got. They can do what they want all day long, they're going to lose. You know, it depends on the case and depends on what you're doing, but you have a lot more power with something like this than you've ever had before now. Very inexpensive to get lots of help, and this works for anything. You want health information, you want information about your car, mechanics, it's huge. It's going to get bigger. Okay? So that's a good source. It's on our website. We've got something else up there. Legal forms, that's another good thing because you're going to have forms. And then we've got a few local people like Doug. He's one of our members, Doug Mickey. He's down in Oxnard. So, you know, when you do need the help, then you can go back to somebody and say, hey, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Here's the game. I've got a lot of places. I've got sources for information. I just want to use you a little bit now and then when I need to. Are you open for this? If you get a lawyer that says yes, then you're good to go. Okay? What I do in my business with the investors is it's all up there on spreadsheets, and even when we do the computer work, Michael and Lana do websites and social media marketing and everything else, it's all up there on spreadsheets. You know exactly what you're paying each time and what you're going to have to pay and what's going to happen. But when a lawyer says, you know, I'm $400 an hour and I'm not going to talk to you for 6 months, and I'm going to send you a bill for $5,000 and I'll break it down or whatever, you're left kind of feeling like, well, gee, if I knew, if I had a little bit more control of what's going on here, it wouldn't have gotten so bad. Okay, so that's it for the legal stuff. Let's go on here and take a look at something else. Okay. You know how you get a check in the mail every once in a while, and you think it's like maybe from an insurance company or a mortgage company, and they're telling you, oh, you can just, you know, cash this check, and you just got $500 or $25 or whatever. I got this check in the mail the other day, I opened it up, and it went, yeah, $10,000. I went, yeah, I was about ready to rip it up, and I thought, these mortgage people or these, you know, insurance people, and I got to look at it a little bit closer, and oh, wait a minute. That's a redeemed tax lien from a year and a half ago. Don't rip that up, no. So, you know, about a year and a half ago, I was offering people 50% splits on doing tax liens. And I went out and got a bunch of tax liens for some people. And it got redeemed, about 4 of them. And the total was about $10,000. It was actually $7,900 something that I collected in. We got interest of $2,100. So the check was $10,000 something, okay? So we split the $2,100, I got $1,000, whatever, some cents, and they got some. Great, you know, they're getting about 9%, I'm getting 9% because it's 18. That's not 36 like I'm doing on my investment properties. But I'll tell you something, when I do this again, okay. You want to know why? Take too long. Yes. I'm telling you, the tracking, the worst part, I mean, the time that I spent looking for some good deals was exactly the same amount of time and trouble it takes to go out and find one of these properties. Why would I spend the same amount of time when I could get a property rather than a tax lien? The worst part of it was every investor that came in on this with me called me up every month. Hey Dan, how's my tax lien doing? I'm telling you, I'm really sorry, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I told you the same thing last month, and I'm going to tell you the same thing next month. This is a waiting game. We don't know until it's redeemed. And they said, well, yeah, but I could lose my money and it could never be redeemed. Yeah, it could happen like 5 or 7 years down the road. And if you call me up every month for the next 5 or 7 years, I'm going to tell you the same thing until it's either gone, or you want to buy it, or we do something else. You know, it's way more work than it's worth. It just wasn't worth it for me. I will never do it again, even for me personally, because I can make more money off the investments, okay? Now, would I do a tax deed property? Yes, because one of the properties that I've got, we got a empty lot right next to the house. That's a rental house. And they sent me a thing and said, hey, we got a tax deed sale going on. You want to make a bid? And I just figured, who's going to buy that, you know? In this economy, they'd rather get a house and fix it up. You can't build cheaper than you can get a free house and fix it up, right? So I figured, okay, here, I'll offer you $300. They came back 2 weeks later and said, yeah, nobody offered anything, so you won $300. The lot's yours. So now we've got this lot that's right next to the house where the tenant that I just showed you with the kitchen, I said, how do you like that nice lot out there? And she said, oh, it's really nice. And I said, would you like it, the space there to use? And she said, that would be nice. Is that possible? I said, well, it's part of the deal. It's part of the house now. She goes, wow, we're definitely buying this property, you know, because it'd be great for our kids and all this other stuff. So that adds value to the property when you've got something like that and it's that cheap, okay? So tax deeds, yes, absolutely, because you know you're going to get something tax liens. They're actually risky because, you know, if somebody doesn't redeem it, you might have to buy it, and it could be not that great a deal, and it's just not worth it for me personally. Okay, last thing said about computing services. You know, we've mentioned that we do websites and social media marketing and all that kind of stuff. Oh boy, I think we just lost our internet connection. So, just in time. So in any case, we've upgraded that. I'm not going to worry about it. We've upgraded it and got a new website. I recently came across a really nice website for showing properties, because I've got another website called NHBIG, National Home Buyers, NHBIG.com. So you should look at that, because as members of the REIA, you can list as many properties on there that you want for free for as long as you want.
What's the name of it again?
NHBIG.com. 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 Stands for National Home Buyers Investors Group. Okay? So what I got recently was a great site as I was looking out for other things for people that wanted websites that will do this. That is very mobile friendly, has all kinds of features. You can bring in other agents, you can let individuals, you can run it like a for sale by owner. There's a lot of things you can do with it. And you can sell it off to, you know, 10, 20 different people, and you can make it look a little bit different from one website to the next, but it's basically the same thing. And the truth is, it really doesn't matter that it looks too much or it looks a little bit like somebody else's. I don't care about that, because the reality is, you're going to drive the business. Whoever is in charge, if they're really into it and they do a good job, that's where the money's going to come from. It's not going to come from a site that looks really good. Right? Doesn't matter. So, in any case, we've got that you know, available for you if you're interested in it, and you'll have a chance to see it and use it when I set it up for us, because I'm going to replace NHBIG with this new one coming up. And then if you say, God, I really want that for my business, then we can help you get that set up for your business. And we're actually working with Dean right now, and he's, I think, did you ever look at that other site and look at the video and the information about it?
I didn't look at the link you sent me today.
Okay.
I didn't look at that.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay, well,
But I looked at the original site that you guys had set up for.
and this is much better than that.
Okay. Well,
So, we're moving on. So in any case, you know, that's an option for you. Now, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to let Sensei come in here. I want you all to give Sensei a big hand. I'll get you set up. If you want to bring your memory stick, I'll plug it in there and get you going. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.